Good day, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
Hello everyone. Last month, Nefaria and myself proudly showed you our first Diablo lore video, and the response that we got from you guys and girls, it's been unreal. Thank you all so very much for your kind comments and the delicious feedback. With that in mind, we invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the story of the eternal conflict.
There is an eternal battle between light and darkness. The high heavens and the burning hells.
From the very moment of the existence, the high heavens and the burning hells clashed in the great conflict, an apocalyptic war for dominion over all creation.
The following knowledge is taken from a surviving fragment of one of the scrolls of the Church of Zakarum. In it, an unknown scribe tells us of events which took place millennia before the founding of their church. However, Deckard Cain, for example, he believes that the tales came from earlier and unknown sources. Either way, the scroll describes a war fought by agents of light and order against creatures of chaos and shadow. In other words, the forces of both the high heavens and the burning hells. Living in the high heavens, we have the angels, which are also known as the Seraphim. They are the living embodiments of Anu. Their bodies are a manifestation of light and sound. Angels are dedicated to the ideals of order and are created, or rather born, within the crystal arc through a process that is known as the light song. The amount of angels that can be born, however, is not unlimited. Depending on the amount of living angels, a new one can only rise if another one has died. The reason for this is that the crystal arc, which was once literally a part of Anu, it does not have infinite power, and therefore the amount of angels that can be birthed through the light song process, that remains limited. The angels, they tune and draw their power from the crystal arc.
You've said that the crystal arch is the heart of heaven. Tell me about it.
It is older than time itself, and over the eons, this shining realm took shape around it. It thrums with living light and sound that courses through the very fabric of the Silver City.
The angels are birthed from it as well?
Yes, like musical notes in a grand chorus. Angels are the manifestation of the arch's intrinsic harmony. The purest expressions of this harmony were my brethren, the archangels.
It seems that this harmony was broken long ago.
Yes, but hope has returned, and as you mortals are fond of saying, it is not over yet.
Demons, on the other hand, also known as Hellspawn, they're the opposite of angels and are beings of shadow and chaos. They are spawned from the Black Abyss, which is an even more mysterious process than the light song that gives birth to the angels. Demons do not have one particular appearance and come in all shapes, forms, and sizes. Although they are all horrific creatures and are recognized for their various grotesque looks. Unlike angels, demons are physical beings made out of flesh, blood, and bones. Once a demon is slain, their souls are reborn in hell, only to spawn a new one. In time, the lords of hell and the angels of heaven, they met and they clashed. This war was most commonly fought within the realm of Pandemonium. They did not fight to simply destroy each other, however. According to one of the earliest necromancers, the angels and the demons, they battled over control over one essential object, the heart of creation, also known as the worldstone. Whoever possessed this ancient relic, this Eye of Anu, they had the power to create worlds. This battle, it raged everlasting, unending, and would therefore come to be known as the eternal conflicts. It is believed that the control of this stone, and in turn the Pandemonium Fortress, it changed hands many times over the eons. Oral history, it tells us that the worldstone, it allowed the side that it possessed it to alter reality and create life and worlds almost without restriction. Furthermore, angels used the stone to build worlds of perfect order, in line with their ideals of justice, hope, wisdom, faith, and valor. Whereas the demons, they used the stone to create mysterious and complex engines of annihilation and worlds of destruction, terror, and hatreds. However, these worlds created by angels and demons, they never flourished. They were inherently flawed and doomed to wither and die. It is written in the Book of Long Shadows that the eternal conflict, also known as the Great Conflict, it shall continue on forever across countless planes of existence until further mysteries, unknown to even the angels and the demons, until these mysteries shall reveal themselves. At times, the war would even reach heaven and hell itself. The diamond gates of the high heavens were sealed at least 5 times that we know of, but the gate themselves, they were never breached. Likewise, angels have also assaulted hell, but to no fruition.
Has heaven or hell ever been close to victory in the eternal conflict?
We thought we had lost everything at the 5th battle of the Diamond Gates. The prime evils and their legions crashed against the very entrance of heaven itself. But one of my most trusted lieutenants, Iswal, turned them back. Still, the day might have been lost had the demon lords not fallen to fighting amongst themselves. So confident of their impending victory, they turned on each other over the spoils they had yet to win. I shudder to think what the demon lords might accomplish should they ever stop betraying one another. Such is the self-defeating nature of evil.
One such assault that was made against Mephisto himself in his very own realm of hatred, and another against the Hellforge, where Isual was lost. But while the great conflict burned hotter and longer than any of the stars in the sky, neither side could gain dominion over the other for very long. Both factions sought some way to turn the tides of the war in their favor, and although at times it felt like one side was winning the battle, neither could ever keep the upper hand for long. It's also very important to note that only a few angels and a few of the demons have ever questioned their purpose within the eternal conflicts. Fewer still have acted upon it, with the exception of the angel Inarius, who was an advisor to the Angiris Council, and the demoness Lilith, queen of the Succubi and daughter of Mephisto. These two developed feelings for each other, and they wanted to escape this great conflict. We'll go into more details about this in another video. We'll talk more about the effects of their different ideas and their actions. What is important for now though, is that eventually, Inarius, he seized this worldstone, and together with Lilith and other renegade angels and demons that tired of this endless war, they created Sanctuary as a world of their own, away from this eternal conflict. Within the game, for example in Diablo 3, there are many items that are linked to the story of Diablo, such as the famous Inarius sets, which necromancers can use. Underneath some of those set items, you can read the following lore pieces.
Few angels have ever willingly abandoned the high heavens. From the moment Inarius created Sanctuary, he knew that he would never be welcome again in the land of his birth. Inarius would stop at nothing to end the war between angels and demons.
The bonding between angels and demons then gave birth to the ancient Nephilim, a very powerful brand new race. So powerful in fact, that after the time, Inarius, he shifted and attuned the worldstone in such a way that would lead to the fading of the Nephilim's power, until all that was left were mere humans.
I would hear more of the creation of our world.
To escape the eternal conflict, a group of renegade angels and demons came together and created a hidden paradise for themselves. They called this world Sanctuary. Eventually, they commingled. They gave birth to mankind. That is why you have both good and evil within you, and the power of both realms as your birthright. The power of your Nephilim ancestors was so terrifying to their parents that they tuned the worldstone to weaken them. They knew they had loosed something unimaginable upon creation.
After the worldstone was gone, much confusion spread through the burning hells in the high heavens. The center of all things that they had fought over for so very long, it had simply vanished. At first, both sides suspected the other to be the culprits, but in time they realized that the truth was something different entirely. Eventually, the force of hell learned about this sanctuary, the mortal realm, during a time that is now known as the Sin War. Not wanting to attract heaven's attention, they worked in secret to try and corrupt humanity through the Triune cult, reasoning that their potential, it would allow them to finally break the deadlock within the great conflict. They were opposed by Inarius, however, who ruled over Sanctuary via the Cathedral of Light. And so, Inarius and his followers, they fought a dangerous, secret, plotting war against the force of hell on Sanctuary. And after countless ages and many events leading up to a certain situation on the mortal realm, a situation that deserves its own video to go into full details. Either way, after countless ages, Tyrael, the Archangel of Justice, intervened due to the actions that were done to Inarius on Sanctuary. In doing so, Tyrael called forth hundreds of angels of the high heavens, which then descended upon the mortal realm. This did not remain unnoticed and led to the ground erupting as the burning hells they joined the battle as well. And so, the eternal conflict now raged on the world of men, resulting in a fight that was not only between the angels and demons, but also the humans, and in turn, the Nephilim.
Tell me more of the eternal conflict.
Since time immemorial, the forces of heaven and hell fought for control of the sacred worldstone, until the day it was stolen by renegades and used to forge your world. Since then, the forces of hell became more interested in corrupting mankind than in facing us on the field of battle.
They sought to use us as weapons.
They knew that mankind would tip the balance of power forever, and very clearly, you have.
It was only due to the powers of Eudician, the most powerful Nephilim at the time, an important character in the reawakening of the Nephilim during the Sin War, that the Battle of Sanctuary was stopped and put to a halt. Eudician released an immense amount of energy from within. He sent back the angels as well as the demonic forces, before then sacrificing himself to save all of humanity. This sacrifice drove both armies back and resealed humanity's potential. After the heavens voted to spare Sanctuary and leave the humans alone, a truce was reached with the burning hells. Both factions, they would respect Sanctuary's right to exist. However, the primevals had no intention of honoring the truce. Within Diablo 1, the Great Conflict is a tome that can be found in the Labyrinth. It details the nature of the eternal conflict, and it reads as follows.
Take heed and bear witness to the truths that lie herein, for they are the last legacy of the Horadrim. There is a war that rages on even now beyond the fields that we know, between the utopian kingdoms and the high heavens and the chaotic pits of the burning hells. This war is known as the Great Conflict, and it has raged and burned longer than any of the stars in the sky. Neither side ever gains sway for long, as the forces of light and darkness constantly vie for control over all creation.
And there we'll have to end it. There ends the story of the eternal conflict. But of course, this is the realm of Diablo, and many more stories are still left to be told. Once again, Neveria has done a wonderful job putting this all together. You can find her over on Twitch, link to the channel in the description down below. And if you want, let us know what topics you'd like us to cover next in the comments down below. Subscribe if you like my videos, leave a like if you enjoyed this one, and until next time, see ya!